Good morning. Another year older. Not any more wiser. How did you get on last night? Day off for me. But were there any trading angles? Always worth taking a look through. With a Hartberg red card, I would have laid the late draw in the last Linz match. That red card in play. 1.56 home favourite. Get in late. Last Linz, third in the league, would have done them the world of good. 3 points. Losing play, but low liability, late play as well. Look at that. Possibility of going top with a win. So motivation, the big factor there. In what would have been a losing trade for a small liability. Lingby, I starred, and that's exactly what you expect against the mighty middle fart. 1.25 home favs. It's a Welsh derby. Wide open match. Great result for Wrexham. Outstanding result for them because they are clinging on to dear life on 57, which is giving this lot on 50 a whole lot of hope for the playoffs. But now they've entered the 60-point club. This lot are going to have to really get their skates on to catch up. While it was 57, there was still belief with Southampton derby especially. Important, crucial win for Wrexham last night. Colchester could have done with a win last night. Again, this would have been a late lay the draw, 1.09, 1.06. Why? Similar story to Wrexham, with the entry point still in the 50s for the playoffs. A win for Colchester takes them to 56. And on goal difference, they would have taken Grimsby out of the playoffs yesterday. So that's a very definite 109, 106 late lay. 3 points, absolutely crucial. Marseille, very, very underwhelming last night. But if you did lay the draw second half, they got there in the end. Underwhelming. Maybe like Fenerbahce, post-Europe malaise. Winkamp, the next banker. Did they score first half or second half? That's an important consideration. First half goal. And you'll see why I focused on Winkamp yet again with 3 points. With the entry point here at 41. This has done their hopes of a playoff no harm at all. They're within 2 points. They're unbeaten in 4. Got to turn those D's into W's, which they did yesterday. So arguably, if you're staying with the bankers, you're not really getting bogged down with trying to figure out some mid-table sides in League 2, are you? I'll show you the banker list. And the only one which went astray yesterday, which I think I would have lost money on, was the Fenerbahce play. 2-0 down again to Fatih Karagümrük. Similar story last Friday. But last Friday, they delivered. On this occasion, not. Borussia Mönchengladbach against St. Pauli. Well, I personally thought St. Pauli's profile, form-wise, was excellent. But due deference to the market, not a match I would have particularly taken on. A Mönchengladbach lead with a newly promoted side. Greuther Fürth against Elversberg. I did mention them, that they are in good form. They got a very, very late goal. Elversberg's stats in play, not suggestive of a side that you could trust last night, but an important win for them would have taken them into the playoffs. So that could have been a losing trade for me last night if I'd have stuck with Elversberg. St. Patrick's against Drogheda yesterday. This was a standout in the Irish Premier Division. Drogs scoring first. St. Pat's equalising quickly. And all of a sudden, it became 3-1. Good play. When you've got odds-on favourites, particularly early on in the season, where there is no particular form lines to really interest us, I would always be focusing on the odds-ons at home and then looking at the in-play stats to make sure that they've actually turned up on the day. Add the two together if they've conceded first, and you've got yourself a nice trade. I have mentioned there's very little pre-match research I can provide for you. But as you can see here, 53rd minute, 1-1. And then all of a sudden, Keener comes on, very Keener, and gets the goal. And then Levy making it 3-1. And Mata making it, not Mata, Palmer. Or Palmer making it 4-1. So I think starting next Friday, the Irish Premier Division and Irish First Division will start to be useful leagues for us. Certainly with St. Pat's last night, if you did spot that one, it was an excellent return. You've got to make sure that the in-play stats take precedence early season, because quite naturally you don't have any form lines to work off. SerieA, a very, very impressive win for Torino in a match. I would have laid over 0.5 goals at the start of the match, and that would have been a failure with an early first half goal for Torino. But it's a very low liability play, and with good reason, with Palmer picking up a whole raft of 0-0s recently. Cambor go top, I think, with a win. That's why they were focused on. Odds on at home again, you see the pattern. Look at that, 2 more points. They wouldn't have gone odds. They wouldn't have gone first, but would have been 69 and pretty much there or thereabouts as far as automatic promotion is concerned. Roda did score first. So again, if you're focusing on bankers, you might be picking up 1 or 2. And that's been the most successful strategy since last Saturday. Is have ourselves a shortlist pre-match of teams that we fancy and can make good arguments for, and then see whether they get in trouble, firstly, and then secondly, whether they have the in-play stats to suggest getting out of it. Well, this was on the cards, a Villarreal equaliser. They've not been in the best of form away from home, gettable away from home. Excellent season, excellent equaliser if you stuck with Villarreal Yellow Submarine yesterday. Fenerbahce against Karagümrük. This would have been a losing play for me, given what Fenerbahce did last week against Samsunspor, coming from 0-2 down and very, very late, getting a late 3-2 winner. So profits from last week cancelled out by the loss there. I think this is smacks of post-European fatigue, I think. For an unbeaten side all season, maybe the too much pressure in trying to retain their unbeaten status. I'm just looking at the head-to-head, see if there's any European football to blame. Well, Nottingham Forest on the 26th is very distant. That was the match which would have got me interested in yesterday's 2-0 lead for Karagümrük. That 0-2 Samsunspor to 3-2 win. So the first loss this season for Fenerbahce away from home is probably where it's more likely to occur. So again, looking at the importance of the bankers list, what would we have done yesterday? Well, Colchester 1.09, 1.06 late lay. Marseille lay the draw second half. Guingamp, I think they equalised, didn't they? Or no, Campbell were the one that equalised. Guingamp, I think, got the 1-0 win. Greuther Fürth, well, did win. So, yes, not necessarily have them as bankers. So I shouldn't really have put Elversberg as a banker. They weren't banker material with a relegation threatened side on an unbeaten run. You can't discount them. And Fenerbahce, that would have been the only loser yesterday. So you would have got a play or two out of this just for this shortlist. And this is the way the profits have been made since last Saturday. So today's shortlist, make sure that you have a read of it. So let's have a look onto what is another busy Saturday. So bankers, will be where I'd like to be looking today, and they'll get starred later on. Odds on favourites, excuse me, will get starred as well. I think Dender, newly promoted a season or two ago, Union St-Gilloise, fresh from European football, odds on at home. I suspect there's a motivating factor for Union St-Gilloise in the standings. If there is, that's going to be shortlisted for a cursory glance at the in-play stats should Dender land a blow. Well, Union St-Gilloise are top on 60 points, so the motivation is to remain top. But if you look at this arrow here, already qualified for the championship round, not necessarily the title. So they've got no motivating factor apart from finishing as champions. Dender, what kind of a season are they having? Well, they're rock bottom. So yes, that looks a good opportunity there. It's looking a forlorn hope. Club Brugge as well. Goals is what you tend to see with Club Brugge, but we might have that Fenerbahce problem. European fatigue. Watch out for that, but certainly on the watch list today, Club Brugge. Reliability. We tend to see goals second half from them as well. Chinese Super League is just beginning. Let that one warm up. I think there's been a few trades already, but there's no form to work off. Dinamo Zagreb odds on against Slavan Belupu. I wouldn't put them as bankers just yet, but definitely at 4:15 they'll be on my watch list during, I hope, a successful live stream, which I'll be doing later on. It might wane like last week. The Wi-Fi has been brilliant again, but it's out of my control. And if it dies all of a sudden at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. UK time, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a pity, but I'll give it a go this evening because it was a good live stream last week. Slavia Prague against Zelen. I wouldn't have them as bankers given the league, but I'll just be a cursory glance to them today, that's for sure. Premier League, Burnley against Bournemouth. When on form, you are with the away side today. Burnley having extreme trouble conjuring up wins. Bournemouth putting together a decent unbeaten run. Unbeaten run of 9 and 5 away. So, yes, Bournemouth on paper look excellent. Not sure it's 100% banker, but certainly a shortlisted match where I wouldn't be expecting Bournemouth to be beaten by a side of Burnley's quote-unquote calibre. Sunderland and Brighton. The Sunderland at home have to be respected. 2.15 the favourite, though. It's suggesting it could be a tight one. Arsenal and Everton. We're likely to see Everton falter, but be brave in doing so. Clean sheet is what David Moyes will be aiming for. Arsenal, potential European depletion, we will see. But as ever, they do tend to deliver. Did need a late penalty midweek to get an equaliser. That might be something to look at today. Could be some late action in this one. Chelsea and Newcastle. Well, Rosinia is impressing, isn't he? With that Paris Saint-Germain result. Really good performance, keeping them on their toes. Newcastle, 2+ goal heroes at home. And that win against Barcelona might have drained them psychologically. It wasn't a win, was it? It was a 1-1 late penalty. Lamine Yamal. So again, done, which was a pity. But both of these sides, post-Champions League, might be the fatigue or the distraction. Because you're getting deep in that competition now. Something's going to have to give. I would be certainly favouring Chelsea today. Not necessarily bankers, but slight nod in their favour should Newcastle score first. And due deference to West Ham that Man City find themselves at the upper end of the odds-on range, 1.7. West Ham, you know what you're going to get with them. Dig your heels in. Unbeaten in 3 at home. Only 2 losses since early January for West Ham came away from home. You are going to get a battling performance from them today. And Manchester City are gettable, I would suggest, today at 1.7. They are in all sorts of problems in the Champions League, all sorts of bother against Real Madrid. They've got the second leg to battle that out. That's a huge distraction. We've got a 3 points required Hammers side. I could see a nice Citizens slip up today. Coventry have been doing the business at all sorts of odds and even away from home. It looks relentless for them. They started us off well last week as one of the old reliables, didn't they? Superb stuff. Middlesbrough got us a break-even trade as they failed to score 0-1 down last week. Expect a correction today. That's what the market's telling us. Certainly going to be on my shortlist as well. Leicester City are in battling territory now. I would be watching for an improved performance from them at home. Not a banker, so don't let that star put you off, but a match where I have a strong opinion on the Foxes. QPR, a bit of a defensive bent with them, likely to keep the Foxes as quiet as possible, but must take advantage of playing at home. It's one to watch, certainly, that's for sure. Norwich really impressed me last week. I trusted them a goal down and they delivered. Might do the same again today. Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday. Well, can Ipswich do what Watford couldn't? Watford did get a late equaliser last week, but they couldn't get the win. Real rarity if you don't take 3 points from the Owls. Ipswich cannot let this gift horse go. Got to. Cash that 3 points in. So it looks a competitive and readable championship for me today. Odds on Favs in League One. No absolute standouts. I wouldn't have any bankers in these lower tiers, I'm afraid. Barnet playing Newport. Odds on Faith. Cambridge United. Well, I might change my tune. Brilliant against Accrington Stanley last week. Got us that equaliser which produced that very profitable Saturday. So stick with the reliables. French League. Monaco are looking increasingly reliable with a strong unbeaten record and the beating of Paris Saint-Germain recently. Lens are always worth looking out for. I'm not putting Lens as a banker, but a side to look out for. But certainly Monaco on form would almost drop into that banker territory. Reims and Saint-Etienne. Well, I like Saint-Etienne and I do like... well, let's have a look at Reims. We're running out of time. We're only at France. And I've got 20 minutes, so I'm going to have to do this quickly. You can see the importance of 3 points for Reims today. Take them to 46. They will remain fourth, but they've got all of this lot waiting in the wings for them to cock it up. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. I wouldn't call them bankers, but I would call them motivated with home advantage, certainly on the shortlist today. Bayern Munich should really teach Bayer Leverkusen a lesson. Bayer Leverkusen are going to be distracted from the Champions League. That's a good time to get them. Augsburg are in excellent form at the moment, but it takes a big boy to beat Dortmund. Only Bayern Munich have done so this season. Heidenheim look gettable all day long. So it looks like we've got a few potential watchers today. And the mighty Hoff scored 3 goals last week. We're expecting more of them today. SerieA, Inter against Atalanta. Not necessarily a banker match, that one. Napoli, I'll be keeping an eye on them today. Lecce can strangle the life out of a side. Juventus, not really banker material for me. They've been a little hit and miss of late. Going into the Eredivisie, nothing much greatly appeals. NEC Nijmegen, one of the better sides in the Eredivisie. So not necessarily bankers PSV today. Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid at home to Getafe. This is pre and post Champions League, but they are in emphatic position against Tottenham Hotspur. Real Oviedo, not necessarily bankers, but they have real struggles with second goals. We might get a trade out of this one. Real Madrid at home as well. Looks solid stuff. So as you can see, we've got plenty of potential for some readable matches today. Live stream later on, if everything works, youtube.com/@FootballTradingProfits. Hope to see you later. I'll see members throughout the day.